Call this meeting of the Central Florida
I was supposed to do thought and pledge.
Club 9958 to order. Please be seated at this time. And thank everyone for being here tonight. If you have phones or other electronic devices, and please make sure that they are off. Put them in silent mode now. Women's restrooms are located on the second hall, on the right where you came in, and men's restrooms are down the hall that way. At Toastmasters, we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Through this mission, each Toastmaster gains a clear understanding of the club's purpose, and the organization as a whole benefits from a shared set of values and goals. Please help me welcome our thought and pledge leader for tonight, Ms. Susan Morgan.
Since I put myself in the role, I had to go and forget that I was doing the thought for the day. So the thought for the day is forgetfulness. Something we all do, and hopefully we won't do tonight, and hopefully we will have a wonderful meeting tonight. I'm really excited to be here. And if everyone would please stand, we will do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome our president, Mr. Charlie Bombalier.
Good evening to all.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I want to introduce all our guests, but wait, we have none.
Alan?
It's
Kind of, sort of.
Kind of, sort of.
Technically, but...
okay, Alan, please stand up and tell us when technically you really are going to come in. Because we want to know.
Technically, yeah, I gotta get back on the roster. I'm just trying to figure out my schedule. So I am very excited to be here again tonight, so hopefully this continues here.
Thank you. Tonight, as we go through our meeting, we're going to pass around in a few minutes the agenda for next week. Please fill out as best as you can so that we can eliminate my heart attack-induced rush yesterday with Susan Morgan in helping me and calling Mark in the last second to see if he would be the Toastmaster, which he graciously did.
I'm Toastmaster?
Our Toastmaster this evening love all things Mexican. While south of the border meant Kentucky to many of Mark's friends growing up, he actually vacationed in Mexico a few times with his family. You may have heard the story of the legendary Chupacabra who lives in Mexico. There is a lesser known story about another mythical animal in Mexico. An animal so empowering that every woman who meets him instantly falls in love with him. Oh my God. He is known in Mexico as El Tiburón del Amor, the shark of love. He goes by another name here in Florida, Mark. Please welcome the original Tiburón del Amor, our Toastmaster this evening, Mark Lockery.
Good evening.
Good evening.
What better way to follow follow-up Cinco de Mayo celebration, then with the 6 de Mayo Toastmasters Fiesta de los Locos celebration. But what is this holiday anyways? Cinco de Mayo, translated, actually means 5 mayonnaises. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Cinco de Mayo, which means the 5th of May. I used to think this was the Mexican Independence Day. However, everybody celebrates that day on September 16th, as the day Mexico gained its independence from Spain. Well, everyone except my friend Rick, who celebrates it on February 18th, the day he gained independence from his Mexican wife. Okay, getting back to Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo celebrates the Mexican victory over the French army in the Battle of Puebla de Los Angeles back in 1862. General Ignacio Zaragoza and roughly 2,000 Mexican soldiers held that town from being overtaken by about 6,000 French troops. Tonight, I will be your General Zaragoza. Actually, outside the city of Pueblo, Cinco de Mayo isn't really celebrated too much in Mexico. It's celebrated more in the US and other countries as more of a Mexican pride day, or an excuse to overdrink tequila and margaritas and overeat tacos and enchiladas. Tonight we celebrate Mexico, the 14th largest country by land area, and the largest source of immigration to the United States. The official name of Mexico, by the way, is the United Mexican States. Now tonight, I know we don't have tequila, but we do have wine, and it is a Central Florida Facilitators tradition that we celebrate Cinco de Mayo by drinking wine every Wednesday for the 8 months leading up to this holiday. So far, we're doing a great job. Now, we do have a great party planned for tonight, a fiesta muy grande esta noche. But first, we have some business to attend to. Let's take a look at the agenda. We do have one minor change on the agenda. I believe we've rearranged the speaking order. Jonathan will be speaking first, and Gloria will be speaking second. I think the rest of the agenda is rock solid on. Now next, as your general tonight and the Toastmaster, I get to call the shots. And I'm calling an audible on this one. Tonight, I don't want to hear the words thank you. I want to hear gracias. So if I catch anybody saying thank you, you're going to get fined 10 pesos. So keep in mind, every time you want to say the word thank you, I want to hear gracias. Also, feel free to refer to me as General instead of Toastmaster. That is completely acceptable. All right, second, we need to meet some of my loyal troops who are strategically placed throughout the room to help ensure that we don't get overtaken tonight by the French. First up, this lady was born into Mexican nobility. However, she gave up her home in Acapulco for a home in Apopka. Our timer this evening, Senora Maureen Martin. Can you please tell us about your role this evening?
Gracias, General.
Muy bien.
One of the skills Toastmaster practices is expressing a thought within a specific time. As timer, I'm responsible for monitoring time for each speaker in each meeting segment. I will operate the timing signal indicating to each speaker how long he or she has been speaking. For our prepared speeches to qualify for voting, speakers must speak not less than 30 seconds under their range minimum and not more than 30 seconds over their range maximum. I will turn on the green light at range minimum. We all know where the green light is at. The yellow light at mid-range and the red light at range maximum. For table topic speakers to qualify, speakers must speak at least 1 minute and no more than 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Green light, 1 minute. Yellow light, 1.5 minutes. Red light, 2 minutes. Hopefully these numbers are correct.
Still are.
For evaluations, to qualify, evaluators must speak a minimum of 1 minute, 30 seconds, and a maximum of 3 minutes, 30 seconds. Green light at 2 minutes. Yellow light at 2.5 minutes. Red light at 3 minutes. Gracias, Ms. General. I think I'm done. Oh, I'm not done yet? Oh. Prepared speeches. Speakers are qualified at 31 seconds over range maximum. And their first speaker, I think that's Jonathan. It's 6 to 8 minutes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what do I do? Do I have to explain all that stuff or it's okay?
I think we know that.
I think we know it.
We know?
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as you know it.
Okay, no, okay, I think I'm done.
We're good?
Yeah.
Gracias. Next up, a former Mexican drug kingpin, or should I say queenpin. She gave up her career selling illegal pharmaceutical drugs in the Mexican cartel and now sells illegal pharmaceutical drugs in one of Florida's pill mills. Please welcome our grammarian, Senora Cece Ward. Please tell us.
Gracias, Senor Toastmaster. Okay, as a grammarian, I have chosen the word of the day, which is sombrero. I will keep track of those who use the word of the day. For clubs with a fine, those who have a chance to speak and do not use the word of the day will be fined 25 cents. Guests and members who have not yet given their icebreaker speech will not be fined. I will also listen for colorful imagery and exceptional user of vocabulary and grammar. At the end of the meeting, I will report on grammar usage and suggest where I see improvements can be made. Sombrero, which is, in case you don't know, I'm sure you do, but based on definition, it gives sombrero, which is Spanish for hat. In English, it refers to a type of white-brimmed hat in Mexico. Though was first made as a bowl to hold food, was later used as a hat to shield from the sun. It's also a large straw or felt hat with a broad brim and tall crown, worn especially in Mexico and in the American society. I will use that in a sentence. Suddenly, he pulled his sombrero down over his bandaged head and started to dance in the ring and start singing. Oh, good. Gracias.
Gracias. Next up, we do have a substitution. Roy will be filling in for Stephen Block. But luckily, I have his intro here. So, our next loyal soldier actually had a promising career ahead of him as a politician, right up until the time he was asked what he planned to do about the numerous drug tunnels that were running between Mexico and the U.S. border towns. When asked if he would shut them down if elected, he said, "Hell no, we're going to put up toll booths so we can make money with all the traffic coming through there." Our Arcana this evening, Senor Roy. Please tell us about your role.
Gracias. My job is to keep track of audible crutches such as and double clutches, which is the repetition of a word while the speaker thinks of the next word. I will also note sentences strung together with bridge words like and so. I will report at the end of the meeting where I noted any of these infractions, and then I will ride off joyously in the sunset on my horse wearing my sombrero.
Whoa.
I will sound the buzzer when I hear any infractions. The buzzer is not to embarrass the speaker, only to give immediate feedback. It may also stimulate an ability to get past distractions that invariably occur during a speech. Guests and members who have not yet given their icebreaker speech will not be buzzed normally. The fine for each infraction is 10 cents. Guests and members who have not given their icebreaker speech will not be fined, but I will keep track of their infractions to help them improve their speaking ability. Senor General.
Gracias. And our last, but certainly not least, a man of mixed heritage who every year celebrates the saving of the Alamo by going and shooting up Hertzen Enterprise. Please welcome our Supervisor of Elections, Senor Alan Lamphere. Tell us about your role.
Unfortunately, I left my sombrero at home tonight. However, as vote counter, I will pick up your ballots for best speaker, best table topic speaker, best evaluator, and most improved speaker. I will tally the results for award presentations at the end of the meeting. I will also pick up any comments you might have written for the speakers or any meeting participant and deliver the comments to the appropriate person. Gracias, General Walker.
Gracias. One last note, I don't know if this was mentioned earlier, but if you have phones, please put them on vibrate or silent at this time. And so now that you've met my loyal troops, let's get this party started. A year ago, our next speaker, or our first speaker as the case may be, began preparation for this international speech contest. He began working on this speech. He then met his girlfriend Jennifer, and as she learned about Toastmasters and his desire to compete, he gave her 3 possible topics. As Jennifer had finally found the love of her life in Jonathan, she encouraged him to give the Chi-Chi love speech, and she had also fallen in love with Chi-Chi as well. As our next speaker has progressed throughout the contest, he has had to start thinking about an additional speech he would have to give in Las Vegas for the finals. The following speech, titled "The Best Is Yet to Come," could be that speech. And the story is about the journey our next speaker went on, just like Mexico, on Cinco de Mayo. It is the story of how he finally received his independence. Please welcome Communicator Gold, Jonathan Reagan Dunn.
It was the summer of 1978, and I had my sombrero on, and I was partying. At 6 years old, I had achieved my life's purpose. When I went to my grandmother's house for our summer vacation that year, I was finally going to graduate to the adult table. And this is something I had been looking forward to for years. That first morning at my grandmother's for breakfast, I was sitting there, anxiously awaiting as the smells wafted through the kitchen. I'd been smelling these smells for years, but I had never visually seen my grandmother's cooking. I sat there, my heart was racing, as my grandmother walked over to the table with a platter full of the fattiest, most disgusting bone-in ham I had ever seen. And if that wasn't bad enough, my grandmother's eyesight had been failing for many years, and she couldn't distinguish between the scrambled eggs and the shells, and I had no filter on my mouth at 6 years old. And I was about to utter a protest. I wanted to go back to the kids' table and enjoy my Pop-Tarts. My mother, however, in her infinite motherly wisdom, quietly placed her finger over my mouth and shh to me. She knew I was at the right table. She helped me clear my plate that morning, along with the family dog, Angel, and then she asked me to hold my fork up on the table, the prongs on top. And she told me I was going to love what came next. The buzzer went off, signaling whatever was baking the oven had finished. My grandmother got it from the table and gingerly put her apron on, and she waddled over to the stove. And she pulled the stove door down. And what hit me next was a smell I won't forget for the rest of my life. My grandmother, her name was Zelma, had made her world-famous, family secret, from scratch, cinnamon rolls. When I sunk my teeth into that roll for the first time, I knew my mother had been right. And I promptly finished 6 in the blink of an eye. A few moments later, as my mom held my head over the toilet seat as I vomited up the 6 cinnamon rolls, she taught me a life lesson that has served me for many years. She said, "Son, I want you to remember the rolls, and I want you to remember what preceded them. And know that in life, sometimes you're going to have to go through some things that taste really bad. But the best will always be yet to come." Fast forward, 28 years later, in my quest to achieve the ultimate happiness, I had a home, I had a car, I had a wife, and I had it all. And you know what? I was miserable. And I lost it all for the very first time. And it was a lot to take. And I made a feeble attempt at ending my life. My parents, upon finding this out, had me move back home. And I was humiliated to go from everything to nothing and back at home in my old bedroom. The first morning I was with my mother, she baked cinnamon rolls using Zelma's recipe. And as I sat there with nothing, my mother, in her infinite wisdom, shared with me something I would carry for the rest of my life. She said, "Son, you lost everything because you're about to gain something larger than life. And I'm going to teach that to you this morning. I shouldn't have let you live your life this long without it, but it's time you have it. And I want to teach you about a word called faith. And for the rest of your life, I want you to know that you're exactly where you're supposed to be at all times." And from that day forward, I started living my life with faith. I mean, heck, I had nothing else. What else could I do? And the world opened up to me in the most beautiful ways. Ways that I'm sure were always there, but I just hadn't seen them. Except when you proclaim that you have faith, the world has this nasty habit to test you and see how strong it is. And in 2008, when the world financial markets crashed, I had rebuilt my empire, home, car, things, and once again, I lost everything. And for the second time in my adult life, I had to go back home with my mom and my dad. And I'm sure you guess what I had for breakfast that first morning with my mother. In her infinite wisdom, she made Zelma's cinnamon rolls again. She told me, "Son, you've lost everything, except I know you still have that faith, and it's time you learn a second lesson." She said, "You're not here to take, son. You're here to leave your footprint on this earth, so that 2,000 years from now, the world will be a better place because you existed." In all my grief, I started going around searching out opportunities to leave my footprint, and something amazing happened. The world opened up again for me, and I saw things that I had never seen before, that were certainly there all along, but I had missed them. And I left my footprint, and I met some amazing people along the ways. And for the third time, I got all those things back again in 2012. And I'm sure you can guess what happened next. I lost them all again. And I had to move back home with my mom and my dad, armed with only faith and the ability to leave a footprint. My mom baked Zelma's cinnamon rolls once again. They were amazing. They're so delicious. She said, "Son, I can tell you're a little angry right now. I've let you live your life way too long without this next skill I'm about to teach you, but it's time you learned it. You're carrying around a lot of weight, and I want to teach you about the word forgiveness." And she taught me that people start leading very small lives when they don't have the ability to forgive themselves and forgive others. Because heck, when you're 36, 38 years old, you've had a lot of things happen to you then. She taught me that the universe never punishes me, but is simply arming me for the journey. She went ahead and proceeded to tell me that forgiveness was unequivocally man's greatest need. And I went about living my life from that day forward with faith, leaving a footprint, and forgiveness of self and others. And the world, it opened up in the most amazing ways. I saw the world like I had never seen it before. And another thing that I saw is after all these tragedies, I was tired. I was exhausted, in fact. In fact, I needed a vacation from all this tragedy, and I arranged for my very first overseas trip to Mexico. My father steps into the story at this part, and while he's always keeping real, he said, "Son, with all the tragedy you've endured, you need to really do a will before you go to Mexico. So my dad sat down with me and we did a will. And on the last page, it asked me if I had any special requests for my will. And I told my dad I wanted to be cremated, holding a fork just like this, like that first day with the cinnamon rolls. He queried me why. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, I know living my life with faith, footprint, and forgiveness, if I died on that trip to Mexico, the best would be yet to come. Mr. Toastmaster.
Gracias, Jonathan.
Gracias.
Now, Jonathan will take a 60-second siesta, during which time I will play some music and we can write some comments for Jonathan.
Yep, I know. What's the word again?
Okay. Jonathan will appreciate the comments that you write for him. Our next speaker is gracious enough to get a computer-generated introduction. Even though she needs no introduction really, serving 8 consecutive terms as Mexican ambassador to Altamont Springs. Her ambassadorship came to an abrupt end though when they found her one 6 de mayo with an empty bottle of tequila, wearing nothing but a sombrero. She doesn't always party, but when she does, she parties with Dos Equis. Please welcome Gloria Esteban.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. But are they really? I wear size 8 shoe. Who in here wears size 8 shoe? I have black hair. How many people in here have black hair? I could speak a second language. How many in here can speak 2 languages or 3 languages? Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. I am getting sick and tired of inequality. And I say that meaning that I don't believe there is inequality. I believe that people have their own opinions. I believe they have their own values and how you were raised. And that's the way it is, according to Gloria. So there are all kinds of opportunities that are out there. And that's the first item that I'd like to talk about. There's 3 reasons why I feel like there is no inequality. Number 1, opportunity. Number 2, respect. And number 3, reward. So let's talk about the first one, opportunity. I believe that we all have the same opportunities to succeed. And we make choices if we want to succeed or not. We make choices if we want to pursue that opportunity or go through that open door. I don't believe that those that aren't working cannot find a job. There are jobs everywhere. Again, opinion according to Gloria Esteban. We all need to think about working to our potential. Now, with opportunity comes responsibility too. And let me share with you all that I have, I think, 6 years of college education, 4 years undergraduate, 100% paid for by AT&T, and then I have 2 years, I received my MBA from the Executive MBA program at Rollins College. Back then it cost $36,000. Now I think it's up to $52,000. But opportunities, responsibility, you know what they said about me? They said you will Whatever you put into Gloria, you will get it back fivefold. What a compliment. She comes to work every day. Opportunities are there, but you have to have responsibility with that. And once again, I say, and I work with foster children, our youth, they need to wake up and see and recognize all these gifts that are just coming to them. I know donors that would just throw money at them. True story. I was working for Junior Achievement as a director of their high school programs, and this gentleman was receiving an award, and so he was talking to a young girl that didn't hardly have any money. She went to Evans High School. Her mother worked at Walmart. They lived in a little apartment. So when they were done with the interview, he turned to her and said, "Now what do you want to do with your life?" She was prepared. She said, "I know I want to be a Gator." Woo! "I know I want to major in journalism. I don't have any money. I'll have to use financial aid." You know what this man did? He wrote her a $10,000 check right there on the spot. He gives it to her. Then he talks to his wife, and they're both Gators, and the wife said, "That's not enough." And you know she's going to get grants, Pell Grants, and all kinds of scholarships, because she's a pretty smart cookie. No, $25,000. They gave her $15,000 more. Plus, when she started going to Florida, they picked up the tab for her to live in one of his condos that he owned. Those opportunities are out there, and that's what I try to tell these kids. I had the opportunity to go to Australia. This Mexican, in honor of Cinco de Mayo, that's not wearing my sombrero today. If I would have known, I would have brought it. But I had the opportunity to go to Australia. I've been to Cairns. I went to the Great Barrier Reef. I went to Sydney. Received a trip in Europe. Went to Spain. Went to Italy. I mean, all these opportunities that were there for somebody that would give back fivefold. What a compliment. The second thing I'd like to talk to is respect. I believe there are folks that don't respect other folks, but I don't think that's inequality. Because you never know what a person went through in their life. You never know what they're going through right now. I met a young lady, and she was mostly Spanish, but she was kind of multicultural, multiracial, that's what she was. She would get upset, well, let me back up. She saw her brother getting murdered, all right, by some Caucasian men. So ever since then, I mean, she hates all Caucasians, and if she goes into an elevator, she expects everyone to say good morning to her. And I tried to explain to her, that's too high of an expectation. Because what if they're having a bad day? Haven't you gone in the elevator and then all of a sudden you get off and you don't even remember getting on? I mean, that happens to a lot of us. We don't mean any disrespect. It's just that whatever's going on, or maybe something happened in that person's life that they don't like, whatever. Somebody overweight, somebody that's too short, somebody that's bow-legged. I mean, you just don't know, but that's their opinion and that's their values. And it really makes me upset when the government tries to force it on you that you should respect. They can't force you to respect. You have to have it in your heart. And I know I'm preaching to the choir, but I just have to say this. The last thing I want to talk about is reward. So I already talked about opportunity, respect, and reward. Payday. Payday is all the fruits of all your labor. But you know what? We do have some people, they don't want to do anything, but boy, they want those rewards. Something's wrong with this system, but the real problem is what made them not want to work? What made them not want to receive the reward? That's the problem there. I don't get it, I don't understand it, but I do know when I left AT&T, it's so easy to sleep late, and it's so nice to not do anything during the day, just kind of bum around. It's a bad, bad habit, But I could see how people get stuck into that. And I wasn't receiving any money, but I had a little bit set aside. So you have to work to your potential, and you also have to find what it is that you would do even if you didn't get paid, so that you can get that reward, that payday. So fellow Toastmasters, I challenge this to you, that you get a copy of the Declaration of Independence, and this is going to be continued. This is part 1. I just went up to the part that says that we all are created equal. And next time I speak, I want you to bring your copy, Mr. Toastmaster.
Muchas gracias. Yeah. Gloria will now enjoy a 60-second siesta. Can you turn the timer light off, please? Gloria will now enjoy a 60-second siesta while we write comments.
Who knows how to dance this? Anybody? Roy does. It's like a polka.
No, yo la vi, que parece caracol, caracol, caracol. Por eso la cogí, la cogí. Si la cogí de la cara, como fue el caracol, como fue el caracol, fue la cara colocada. La cogí de la cara, como fue el caracol, como fue el caracol, fue la cara colocada.
Okay, with that done, Senora Martin, can we please get a timer's report for the 2 speakers this evening?
Unfortunately, Jonathan didn't qualify. He went over by 20 seconds.
That's okay. 20?
Well,
Was it 8 minutes, 20 seconds?
Yes, 8 minutes, 50 seconds.
50 seconds.
Oh, 50 seconds, okay.
So he went over. And for Gloria, your speech was 5 to 7 minutes. You went 8 minutes, 18 seconds.
Save the forums, we'll be here for next week.
Oh, we don't want to put the date on here.
Or we can vote on the best overtime speaker.
Yeah, I did have a lighting issue, so I kind of, I won't complain.
Give it to him.
Yeah.
Well, I went from green to red.
Okay, order. Now, when I think of Mexico, I think of bullfighting. Bullfighting began in Mexico more than 500 years ago. Mexico and Spain have the largest number of bullfighting rings. Mexico is one of only 8 countries where bullfighting is still legal. For some reason, the matadors all wear pink socks. I don't know why. And also, you know how they move around that red cape to make the bulls charge? Bulls are actually colorblind. They only see things in black and white. So although they won't be able to see the red cape, they would have no problem viewing Jonathan's PowerPoint presentation from a few weeks ago. That was in black and white. One last note of bull for you. One of the most famous bulls in bullfighting was named Pajarito, which means little bird. That's a cute name for such a large, intimidating animal. You wonder why they got that name and if it was a mistake. But he was given that name because he had the tendency to jump up and leap into the stands to try to maul the spectators. Now with that, we're going to transition to table topics. And as your general Toastmaster this evening, I will introduce our table topics master, demonstrating what some of you lucky Toastmasters will do for our table topics segment this meeting. I will reach into the subject bowl and then reach into the gesture bowl. And then within a 1 to 2 minute time frame, I will create a table topic speech incorporating the subject and the gesture. So we'll do this. Pick a subject, and I will pick a gesture. The subject, Gail Hill Smith. The gesture, stepping up to the lectern to much applause. So my table topic story is this. When Gail was born, she knew that there was much destined to her life than what she had. So at the young age of 4, she left home by joining a group of traveling gypsies headed west. They smuggled her down to Mexico, and at the age of 11, she joined a mariachi band, where she learned to play the guitar while riding a donkey backwards. She soon shot to stardom in Mexico, and her fame, thanks to YouTube, gave her stardom all over the world. Now, rumor has it, next year, she's going to be opening up for U2 during the Super Bowl halftime show. So please keep your eyes open for Gail Hill Smith. And at this time, I would like to bring up to the lectern, Miss Gail Hill Smith.
Thank you, Henry. This evening, our Toastmaster demonstrated a table topic by reaching into this bowl filled with subject matter and then reaching into this bowl filled with gesture matter. His objective was to create a story around the allotted time of 1 to 2 minutes. That story was to have an effective opening, body, and conclusion. And typically, and hopefully, to use the word of the day, sombrero. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what we are going to do this evening. Any questions, or is this perfectly clear? And a side note, you can use English, you can use Spanish, or you can use my favorite second language of Spanglish. However you wish to create your story. Is our timer ready? Madam Maureen?
Yes.
Okay. I have enough subject matter and gesture matter for everyone in this room, including our speakers. They have spoken. Let us begin. Over here on this table, Roy. A subject, a gesture.
So do I read them out and then assign it out?
Yes.
Do I assign it out to somebody?
No.
Well, that's yours.
It's
No,
yours.
it's my baby?
It is your topic.
It's your baby.
Demonstrating great gestures this evening.
It's written in English?
I'm supposed to read it out loud to
Sure.
everybody?
What's
Okay.
your subject?
My subject is a marathon runner. My gesture is running from a mad barking miniature dash hound hot dog dog.
All right.
All right.
So here we were about 9 months ago, and my wife challenged me to the biggest challenge of my life. I was 40 pounds heavier, I had a big, strong, strappy beard, and she said, "You need to get in shape. You're not attractive anymore." And I was just flabbergasted, and I was like, what do I do? Lift some weights? You know, do a little jogging? Why don't you do the Disney Marathon? And I thought to myself, why not? What the heck? Sounds like a great challenge. I'm up for it. I had 6 months to plan for this thing and train. So day after day, week after week, I had my schedule laid out. I got up at 5:30 a.m. I ran from 6 to 7 o'clock in the morning before I went to work. And I did the old, walk 100 feet, run 100 feet. I started off small, and I worked my way into it. Walk 200 feet, run 200 feet. And slowly but surely climbed my way up. And I dropped 10 pounds. I shaved my beard off, at least clipped it a little bit, dyed my hair a little bit, and I started to get back in the groove a little bit and started to work my way up into it. And I decided to go ahead and do a half marathon, to kind of ease into the full Disney marathon and see how that would go for me. So everything was going great. I went into it for my age group, 35 to 44, I ended up placing in 3rd place. And I was like, man, I'm on top of this. I lost 30 pounds, I was down to about $185. I had 2 months to go to kind of eclipse that major milestone that I was looking to achieve. So there it is, it's game day. Disney Marathon, 6 o'clock in the morning, you can smell the fresh air. The moon's still out, I'm just totally looking forward to it. So we're walking from the parking lot to kind of stretching out, getting ready. I got my Gatorade bottles wrapped around my fanny pack. I'm ready to go. And I'm kind of walking, starting my slow jog, getting ready to go check in and everything. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a miniature hot dog Dachshund starts chasing me. So I run and I run and I run and I trip. And I sprained my ankle and I couldn't run the race. But look at me, I'm down to $1.75. I've got pretty much a clean-shaven face, and my wife loves me again.
Oh, what a love story. Thank you, Roy. Okay. How about we go to this side over here? Jonathan. Subject. Gesture. And you can stand up and read them.
Oh, wow, that's a weird combo.
Marathon runner.
The subject is,
Lights, please.
Oh,
the subject is famous keynote speaker, and my reaction is after waking up from a facelift surgery. Gracias, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and we now have one guest. The year is 2016, and a famous keynote speaker has emerged from this little club here known as the Facilitators after winning the World Championship of Public Speaking. However, his agent has told him, gosh man, I'm really lost on this one. You guys are seeing it firsthand. His agent has told him that he looks way too old to go out on tour. Whew, this is like one of the most painful moments ever. It's painful for us too, right? I'm gonna need facelift surgery after this. This is like Table Topics contest, worst case scenario ever. You did a great job, Roy. It's a shame you went over. You really would have won it. You had my vote. I'm punking out. It's green.
That was tough. That's the hardest thing I've ever seen.
You should have brought the Datsun into it.
I had a good idea to just
Stumped.
Wow. Jeez, that's hard.
Okay. Cece. Yes. A subject.
A subject. Okay.
A gesture.
Am I supposed to read it out loud?
You are.
Okay. Actor in a Shakespearean play. This is the subject. Playing and winning at the slot machine in a gambling casino. Okay. Gracias, Madam Toastmaster and guests. I appreciate this opportunity to speak about a Shakespearean play and posing or acting as if I am playing and winning at the slot machine in a gambling casino. I do recall one day my family and I, especially my sister, took a trip to Tennessee to attend or to visit the casino, and to my dismay, I was overwhelmed by the crowd of people that were so hungry to win millions of dollars, and saw people pulling out of their pocket all their hard-earned money into this gambling. So I thought this was a great idea. Why not? I pulled out my purse, whatever I could find, all the cash, and I said, well, why don't I take a chance at it? Everyone else is doing it. It must be something great. Took the $20 I had, went to change it to the cash machine, and I used $5. Because I know that chances are I can win with $5, and I can save $15 and take it back home. Reached out, put in the coin, ding, and to my dismay, I won $1 million. So I started jumping and shouting. And everyone turned around looking at me and said, what is this crazy lady? What's happening to her? I won! This is what I won, $1 million. And ladies and gentlemen, I won. You don't need $100,000 or your hard-earned paycheck to gamble. All you need is $1. But guess what? I used the $5 and I get to take home $15. Madam Toastmaster.
Would our guest be willing to take a stab at a table topic?
That you're offering?
1 to 2 minutes? You don't have to, but not tonight. Okay, so you'll be back.
Woohoo! Let's hope so.
Our evaluators, I don't want to pick on unless you feel you're ready. No? Okay, then we're going to pick over here. Susan.
Okay. Get a subject.
Can't be worse than mine.
Yeah. And a gesture. Okay. The subject is Lady Dressed in Cinco de Mayo Costume. Well, I think I can handle that. Playing hopscotch with a hula hoop. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I think. Oh, okay. I think that I am dressed very appropriately for Cinco de Mayo, or maybe the other one where it's all the Day of the Dead. That's the one. I think that's probably a little bit more appropriate for my outfit. But I'm all dressed up in a dress, and I am ready to party for Cinco de Mayo. And the thing is, I'm going to do hopscotch. Not very well. And I'm playing hula hoop at the same time. I think my kids would have a really good time dressing up in Cinco de Mayo outfits and playing hopscotch and doing the hula hoop. In fact, my son actually asked for a hula hoop for his birthday one year. All he kept hearing on his birthday is in January, and he kept hearing Alvin and the Chipmunks singing, I just want a hula hoop. And he just kept saying, I want a hula hoop. So he got a hula hoop for his birthday, and he loved it for quite a while, and now he's outgrown it. Madam Table Topics Master, thank you for that, and hopefully I didn't kill anybody by trying to hopscotch and hula hoop at the same time.
We should We're gonna go to Alan.
Yes!
We're gonna you or me.
She
That was good, I know, that was good.
Okay, so my subject is citizen at a retirement assisted living facility. And using a wheelchair due to a broken leg, set, and cast.
Wow.
It is actually two go together.
That's two together.
Okay, so my story tonight is, once upon a time, long ago in a galaxy far, far away, I had an assignment for high school where I had to do some charity work, and I decided to spend some time at a retirement home. So, I was excited because this was something that I thought would be very easy to do. All I'd have to do is just go in, just kind of spend some time with a couple of the old people, you know, playing some checkers or card games or whatever. No problem, right? So this is easy credit for my class. So, I remember as I was walking in and into the retirement assisted living facility, and I saw the person that I was going to spend some time with, and they were in a wheelchair, and I felt really bad for them because they just fell down about a week or so ago, and they were all in a big cast, and because they broke their leg or hip or combination of all. So, but no matter, it's still, you know, we can just go play cards. So, I assisted the person by wheeling them out, and I guess I was wheeling them a little too fast because they were putting their hands on the wheels and trying to slow things down because they're used to being pushed out there by the people at the facility there. So, but long story short, we had a fun time playing a card game called Pfeiffer, very similar to euchre, except there's no blind card. And it was a good time, and that's all it was. That was very fun.
You guys are being good sports. So good that we're going to walk back down this way to Miss Maureen. We're going to have Cece assist her with the timer.
You sure you want to do that?
Oh, absolutely.
She's like, no, I don't think
A subject, please, por favor. Just one. And a gesture. And a gesture. A gesture. Okay. Make a gesture. Thank you.
Okay, patient in a hospital. And that was the subject. And then my gesture is washing, then walks in a car. That's my guess anyway.
Can you repeat the gesture?
Washing, then walks in a car. The patient in the hospital, I could use that for myself because I remember I got sick more than once and I had to be in the hospital. My first visit, I had a deep vein thrombosis, which some of you might know. It's a blood clot in the vein, and I had to be hospitalized for about 2 weeks. It was very painful because when I got in the hospital, I in bed, could not move. I could not walk because my leg was so swollen. However, after I got out of the hospital, I realized the car that I had was dirty, so I had to give it a wash. Back then, we didn't have that where you could drive in and get your car washed. You had to use your hands, wash it, dry it, and then give it a good wash. And I think that's what I did. And of course, I think I did a good job because it was shining. And guess what happened after that? The rain came, so, which usually happens. And that's my story. Thank you.
And of course, our final table topic to our tallest member.
Our tallest member.
A subject
Subject,
and a gesture,
a
please.
father in a second grade classroom. A father in a second grade classroom. Wins Best Table Topics Award. Father in a second grade classroom wins Best Table Topics Award. Turn on the music. Oh, is that loud? Oh, it's happiness.
She's sombrero.
I know. That's what we need. Thank you. Hola a todos. Muy bien, muy bien. No recuerdo nada. ¿Cuántas personas aquí hablan español? Oh, sí. ¿De veras? Oh, ok, qué bueno.
Un poquito.
Yeah, no, tú sabes mucho. Yo soy un padre y tengo un hijo que es en el segundo grado y ganó Spanglish, un award. Hijo, mira que tengo. Mi award. Yo ganó este award. Y dice el chiquillo, ay, qué bueno, papá. ¿Qué vamos a hacer con el dinero? Porque ganaste como $1,000. No es este Toastmaster, es otro. So, Padre nuestro que estás en el cielo, santificado sea tu nombre. Haz tu voluntad en la tierra como en el cielo. Danos hoy nuestro pan de cada día y perdona a ellos que nos ofenden, así como nosotros perdonamos que nos ofenden. No dejes caer en tentación y líbranos del mal. Amén. Thank you. Spanglish.
I can't catch double clutches and ahs in Spanish, so I just gave you a courtesy buzz.
Oh, thank you. I hope you enjoyed that for table topics. A little twist this evening.
Yeah.
Madam Timer, may we have the times of our topics, please? Who qualifies, who does not for the vote?
Okay. I guess Mark, his was under minutes, so I guess he didn't qualify. Was 51 more? Was that? Did you have a table?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Was he?
Yeah, you
Couldn't remember. Okay, and Roy, the marathon runner, you had 2 minutes and 30 seconds, so you do qualify.
Oh, good. Yes.
Jonathan,
Shh.
1 minute, 11 seconds, so you do qualify.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cece, actor in a Shakespearean, 2 minutes, 19 seconds. She does qualify. And Susan, lady dressed in the Cinco de Mayo and playing the hopscotch. Yours was 1 minute, 39 seconds, and you do qualify. Alan, citizen at a retirement living facility, 2 minutes, 10 seconds. Does qualify. And myself, patient in the hospital, walks in the car, 1 minute, 44 seconds. I guess I qualify. And Gloria, I didn't understand the word. That was 1 minute 40 seconds. You do qualify.
Well, on that note, welcome back our General Toastmaster General Evaluator.
Gracias. Do we have an introduction for our general evaluator? Do we have an introduction for our general evaluator?
No, we don't. Sorry.
That's okay. Our general evaluator this evening has the pleasure of getting a computer-generated introduction. She's also of mixed heritage, German, Italian, and Dutch-Irish, which absolutely has nothing to do with Cinco de Mayo, so I don't even know why I bring it up. I will bring her up. Please welcome our general evaluator this evening, Mrs. Susan Morgan.
Good evening, everyone. I'm the General Evaluator, and what my job is tonight, for the benefit of our guest, is I will call up our evaluators who will evaluate the speeches of our prepared speakers. And I will also give a little report about how our meeting was run as a whole. And my first job this evening is that I get to introduce our evaluators. And since we have switched a little bit, our first evaluator is going to be Stephen. Yes, okay. It's very easy when you forget to have an introduction from somebody to make it up, or you would think it would be. For me, it's quite a bit easier when it's my own husband. So, without any, I'll do a Gail, without further ado.
That's a Steve, that's a Jonathan.
That's a Jonathan? Okay.
He's still going from faceless.
I'm still coming from, yeah, facial surgery. I thought you said Facebook surgery. That would be interesting too. Facebook surgery would actually be very interesting, and I would like to go on about that at some point. Anyways, please help me welcome to evaluate the speech of Jonathan Dunn. Please help me welcome my sweet, wonderful man, Stephen Morgan. No kissing in Toastmasters.
This speech had everything. We had all these wonderful descriptions that we got to begin with. I could call them Pop-Tarts. As we began with Senora General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, most particularly Jonathan. Let me feed you a little bit of those sweet ones that you gave to us there. From the very fatty ham, the wafting smells, the apron that your grandmother put on and how she waddled, and the smells wafting through the kitchen. You had all these wonderful descriptive words. And then they all disappeared. When you moved to the adult table, suddenly, all I heard was all those things. Lost them all or lost everything. Suddenly, the world opened up, and you'd seen it like you'd never seen it before. And all the platitudes and generic words that you were throwing about without no descriptions. Where you had begun with them, suddenly they disappeared. And as you've known from the experiences from your life, you know what happens when they all disappear. The rest of it falls down. You've done this speech before, and as you had told me before, this is the first time you've given it since. Let me give you a few of the suggestions. Since you are thinking about considering this as one to do in the World Championship, I'm going to throw a few things your way that are a little bit more so than you might get from a normal evaluation. One of the things I'm going to tell you for this case, the idea of the fork is cute, but I'm actually going to suggest, and especially the title best is yet to come, I'd have to suggest in this case to toss them, because at the Division G contest, one of the international speeches was there, used the same trope, used the fork and used it as the best is yet to come. I do not know if this is yours personally or not, but obviously it is out there, and if you want to be unique, you're going to have to put it to the side. My suggestion, the F words. Because that's what you had. You had faith, footsteps, and forgiveness, the F words. That'd be a great way to grab attention. Definitely grab on the specifics, the smells. I would actually push the cinnamon rolls off to the side, use them as a little bit later, but particularly, you want your points to be memorable, you're going to have to make it a story. And when I say a story, I'm not talking about your grandmother, because that was cute and all, but there was no plot associated with it. There was no conflict associated with it. Where are the characters that we can get engaged with and that we're going to get emotionally invested? That's what you want. So we're going to have to hear about your life. If you're going to tell us about, oh, I wanted to commit suicide, good God, make us feel why you want it to be that way. That's what's going to make the impact. And then from there, you can lead us into the resolution of the denouement that's going to bring us to where you want us to be, because your strength is in your sincerity and in your experiences. And knowing what I've seen you do and what you're capable of doing, I can say, put all of that together, restructure it, and definitely you'll see the best is yet to come. Senora General Evaluator.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan, that wonderful evaluation. Okay, he just gave me a intro and it is lost.
That's a good one.
Okay, sorry.
We can save this.
Our next evaluator, who gave me an introduction and I promptly lost it. Sounds like the story of my life with the move right now. Please help me welcome Charlie Bombalier to evaluate the speech of Gloria Esteban.
Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and of course, my favorite, Gloria Esteban. Or should I say, Señorita Gloria. Arriba, arriba! Imagine, I can't even imagine you not bringing a sombrero to your best day. Gloria, your title was enticing and powerful, because the Declaration of Independence always, without doubt, catches people's attention, because it's something that they grew up with. I love the line that you used. Explanation of inequality according to Gloria Esteban. That was very good. I like that. You used opportunity. Whatever you put into Gloria, you will get back fivefold. Beautiful line. Respect. No respect for yourself or others does not mean inequality. And your last one, reward. Payday. Those were all excellent points for all of us to ask ourselves from time to time. What could you have done better, perhaps, to make a more powerful impact? I noticed that you used one example when you gave your 3 points, which was you gave one example yourself, but if you could have used an example of someone that you knew or heard about in each of these respect and opportunities, it would have been more impactful to the audience. Also, I think, Gloria, you could have used a little more vocal variety. It was kind of playing the whole way through. And lastly, you really need to concentrate on one thing. Timing of the clock. Time. I believe that's twice in a row that you've gone over. Your speeches are great, but you need to find a way to be able to cut it if you find yourself going over it. Having said that, you emphasized your main points clearly. You used pause at the right moments. I like that. It was very good. Give us an opportunity to grasp what you were saying. Your eye contact was excellent. I saw you going from one side of the room to the other. You were prepared for your speech. Your organization was logical, and clear. And you used appropriate transition, which was very smooth in your speech. Excellent speech. Watch the time. Madam General Evaluator.
Okay, wonderful evaluations. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, or gracias. Sorry, I am already ruining it here. Gracias, Charlie. Gracias, Stephen, and all the rest. Okay, now it's time for me to talk about our functionary reports and see how we did. Oh, let's vote first for our evaluators, but we need to have a timers report first. So Maureen, what are our times tonight?
Yes, Stephen, your time was 3 minutes, 22 seconds. You do qualify. Charlie, 3 minutes, 23 seconds. You also qualify.
Wow. All right. Great job, guys. Okay, and I would like to hear from our awe counter. Is that Roy or are you grammarian, Roy?
Senior Roy.
Senior Roy. Senior grammarian. You're awe counter.
I'll counter.
Okay.
Mark, I didn't catch you for anything. But I'm not the best hot counter in the world. I didn't catch you. Susan, I had you for 2. Alan, I had you for 5 plus. Jonathan, I had you for 10 plus, and they're all ants, nothing but ants. Charlie, Stephen, Gail, Maureen, Cece had none. And Gloria, I had 6, 5 Richards. You guys have okay. Senior with the
And our next functionary is our grammarian, Cece.
Yes, I did catch a lot of colorful imagery as well as vocabulary, which I will explain. So we have Alan L. I loved when he says galaxy far, far away. And to make a long story short, sounded very nice to me. Roy, the word flabbergasted, I liked. The smell of fresh air that brings out the imagery. And he also said, I went down $1.75 and my wife loved me again. Like that.
I love that.
Jonathan, he said, which left in my mind, left his footprint. Also, he stated, no filter on my mouth at 6 years old. That was great. Gloria, go Gators, like that. And everyone like that too. Especially the non-Gators fan. Bad habit, she also said. and she's a pretty smart cookie. Mark. Mark. Right. Stardom all over the world. All right. Susan. I just won the hula hoop. Like that. She also mentioned sweet, wonderful man. And she also kissed her man on the podium, which everyone saw. Maureen. Back then. I knew what you meant back then, but the then signifies you're from Jamaica, man. It was shining. It was shining. Stephen, I can call them Pop-Tarts. And also his emphasis on good God. It was pretty sharp. Charlie, I'm pretty sure everyone will hear you when you said time, when he was evaluating Gloria. And that's all I have. Now, as far as the word of the day, I was able to catch Alan, Roy, Jonathan, Gloria, Mark, and Charlie. I'm sorry if I didn't hear anyone else. Speak up if you did. Gail, sorry. But that's all I have. Gracias.
Now, let's see, do we have anyone else? No, we only have the vote counter. So I think that it is my turn to go on about the meeting. We did an excellent job. We had a lot of, or not a lot of people to have roles and to fill roles, and especially for our table topics, which was a challenge. But we did a good job at just jumping in and taking over for it. We did start on time. I was very impressed because we were a little bit low on attendance. And Mark, I have to say I loved the intros for all the functionaries and everything. You did a fabulous job making this really fun. Our evaluators, I want to say a few words about how they evaluated. Stephen, great job under normal circumstances, just for our guests' education. He wouldn't go on into the more critical areas. He would give a little bit more feedback that was positive, but this was a special occasion, and you told everyone that it was a special occasion, and I appreciated that. And Charlie, you did a great job. I loved your arriba. And Stephen, I loved your F words. That was pretty good. And that you used the word of the day. And since I didn't get a chance to put a sombrero on myself, maybe that will count. I don't know. We'll have to see what Cece decides. Our table topics tonight, great job, just pulling one and one from. It was hard. And it was challenging. It was very challenging, but it was fun to be able to do that. I think that it really made us think a lot. And I enjoyed it myself, and I think everybody else did as well. It looks like we're heading out to be out on time tonight, and with that, I will introduce our president and have him close our meeting, and Mr. Charlie.
Good job, speakers.
Yes.
Yes, great job.
Thank you. Could our guest tonight honor us with standing up for 30 seconds and giving us your name and how you got here?
Yes, I am Alfred Penn from Jamaica. I'm just living here about 3 years now. And I live in Altamont. And I was invited here by Maureen tonight. But at first I was telling her I don't think I could make it. Right, but I just decided that, okay, I had something to do, but I was work around it. And I said, let me come to see what it's all about. So I'm just hoping that I'll be here again.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. I have a challenge tonight for Gloria Esteban.
A challenge?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll take it.
Would you, oh, you were going to take good. You'll be Toastmaster next week.
Oh, no! Okay, I
Thank you, Gloria.
will. When do you need the theme?
You come up.
ASAP.
Well, there is one on there if you don't want it.
Oh, is there one?
What does it say?
Computer
Make
generated?
them laugh.
Make them laugh.
Which one is it?
Make them laugh.
It says make them laugh.
Yeah, keep it.
You can use it.
Yeah,
You can redo it if you want.
that's right, make them laugh, sounds good.
Okay. We got enough. We're gonna have speakers Mark Lockery and Charlie Bumbleear. We could use another speaker if somebody wants to come out, but we'll call people. Table topics is Roy. Thank you. And it's evaluator we have so far, Mr. Jonathan Reagan Dunn. Supervisor of elections is Susan. Our counter is Maureen. Grammarian is no longer Gloria Esteban. So we'll find someone else. And timer is Cece. And Gail will not honor us next week because she's going fishing.
All right.
Is there any quick business that anyone needs to bring up? Good. Yes, Gail.
Not business, I'm just curious. Who else is planning to attend our conference? Susan? Charlie? Jonathan? Yes? Yeah.
Okay,
Great.
But
Yeah,
Okay, very good.
I might.
Then, just a reminder, because I won't be here until the conference, to bring our banner so that El Presidente can walk with it.
Si, señorita.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Who's the vote counter? The awards ready?
Yep, awards are
Can we
ready.
bring them up, sir? Please. Señor. Caramba! Okay, time for the fun. Our Tim Chastain Award for our guest is it's an award that's given by the president for someone that went beyond and above the call of duty. And tonight, I have to give this to a gentleman that we called at the last minute yesterday. He would be the Toastmaster, and he did a splendid job. Martin Locke. Ándale, for best table topics, Roy Whitting.
Senor Roy.
It's been even funnier if he twisted his ankle doing it.
Yeah.
I know.
yeah, why couldn't you have done that?
That would have been awesome.
For the best evaluator award, El Senor Stephen Morgan.
No kisses.
Si, senor.
Yeah, don't kiss him, Charlie.
Can't kiss Charlie.
And
General evaluator gets it.
for the most improved award, a very shy gentleman, Mr. Jonathan Dunn.
Worst day and I did this.
With that, I will have the pleasure of getting this class, because you're so well behaved. Meeting adjourned.